Hey, GLP-1 plus sides community. Before we jump into the podcast, please take the time to leave us a 5-star review on whatever audio platform you're listening to the podcast on. Share your story and how the podcast has helped you. This will help us get referred up in the audio platform so that we can reach more people that need our help, our support, and guidance from our doctors. Help us get loud and change things.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.
Hey everyone, before we dive in, I really want to share something personal with you. About, I want to say like 8 to 10 months ago, after losing 100 pounds on GLP-1s and keeping it off for a long time, I started regaining out of nowhere, and I was terrified. But I also started having hot flashes and bouts of crying and snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. unable to go back to sleep. It turns out I was in perimenopause. So I started hormone replacement therapy, which is also called HRT, through a telehealth called Winona that specializes in this. And it changed everything. And now I'm sleeping better and my hot flashes are all but gone, thank God. And I feel like myself again. And it turns out that you can actually start perimenopause as early as 35. And well, I'm 46 and she's here. HRT has really come a long way and there's just no need to suffer anymore. So if you're like this and you're in the same boat, you can check out buywinona.com and you can use the link in our link tree to save some money.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price, Ro now offers FDA-approved weight loss injections cheaper. With results you can see faster. Lose 15% of your weight with the formula from Eli Lilly that hits not one, but 2 hormones to curb hunger and nausea. Weight loss faster, confidence higher, price cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
Welcome to the Plus Sides Podcast. So we're GLP-1 evangelists.
Indeed.
Right. So
In the house. Well, it started like that, but now we're health evangelists.
I'll take it.
And tasty food evangelists, right?
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I
All
will.
right. So
We like tasty food.
we do like tasty food. We just don't like food noise. That's the difference. We like hunger and not food noise. They're different
I
things.
get it. Yeah. Tasty food with no food noise is quite a picnic. More food references,
Indeed. Hey, everybody. So if you're new here, we're going to give you our intros. If you're not new here, this is your cue to fast forward. So I'm fast. This is the Plus Sides Podcast, and this is Kat. She is my co-host and bestie on the Plus Sides Podcast. And I've been on a GLP-1 for the past, really since, well, I mean, we'll say years because these gotten big with podcasts, but I've been on it since July of 2022. I've lost 110 pounds. I still live in a plus size body and I'm okay with it. And we talk about a lot of things on this podcast because Kat and I have been going on the journey and learning. So I think in the beginning, because of the way the diet culture is, we thought, I don't know, like it was just about weight loss, but we've learned that it's about, health gain, And so that's what we talk about here. And we really like to break down all the different pieces of of what it takes to kind of be living with a chronic disease and how to be your best self, like your healthiest self. And that could be mentally, physically, etc. And there's just a lot of things that go into that. So we're going to examine that on the podcast. That's who I am. That's what I do. Kat, who are you? What do you do? What you doing?
I'm Kat, co-host. I am on the Mounjaros. That's all I've taken. Started in October. I don't know why. It's so hard for me to remember things. I 22 menopause brain, but October 2022. Yeah. And 70 pounds. I stopped for a good long while, for about a year, and then started to gain last year. But we have found that it could be perimenopause.
Yeah,
that was kind of causing the limbo. But I'm getting on, or I am on the HRT, and it's really helped. Things are getting back under control.
It's weird. The gain was weird. I can't even imagine if I wasn't on the medicine when I started perimenopause, what that would have been like. Like,
started to feel like I am, what's going on? Is this not even work for me either? But no.
Right.
But my doctor was like, she's very, very kind about it. She said, all things considered, you're doing fantastic. You're in perimenopause and you've lost 70 pounds or 65, depending on the day, whatever. But so
for sure.
It's all perspective. So
absolutely. And 70 pounds is a massive accomplishment, Kat. Like it's amazing. Yeah. Not to mention you're like also a fitness queen.
I like to
cook. Like
what?
Multifaceted. I know. I love it. So we're going to have a good time today, and we're going to invite in our guest.
Yeah. Speaking of cooking.
Hello. How are you? Good. Thank you. Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. Absolutely. So we're going to ask you the first question we ask every guest that comes on the show, which is tell us about who you are and how you help people.
Wonderful. Okay. Again, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. So again, my name is Sayeh. I am a chef, and I'm the owner of DC Cooking School, located in Washington, D.C., hence the name. I've always been very, very passionate about cooking, which has also ultimately led me to my struggle with weight loss all my life. I've been myself categorized as obese the majority of my life. On and off, I've been obese certain times in my life, and some would say, normal body mass other times in my life, until GLP-1s really came and have given me more of a stable life, which I've been on GLP-1s for about a year and a half. And now, because I am a chef and I have extensive experience in creating healthy dishes, I've now shifted that. You could say laser focus that on helping people that are on GLP about what to eat and how to eat really nutrient dense foods. Since, when you're on these medications, that the hunger goes away. So it's really important that you eat super nutrient dense foods. And I've done this kind of organically. I teamed up with UBI Health because I started using their compound GLP-1. So now by teaming up with them, I provide recipes. I kind of provide one-on-one to people that are on this medication to help them really maintain a healthy lifestyle. Because there is no, magic pill, or I could say magic shot. There's other things you have to do in your lifestyle to maintain healthy. So that's kind of where my chef expertise come in.
Awesome. I love it.
Great. Well, speaking of chef expertise, I know your background is journalism. So what inspired you to transition from journalism over to chefy life?
Yeah. So give you a little background about my own is I was working in broadcast journalism for about 15 years. I worked for some of the major networks, and I worked in front of the camera, which, given my weight loss struggles myself, wasn't always easy. But there's that really famous saying, the camera adds 10, but in my case, it added 50. So I transitioned from a producer to working in front of a camera. And most people that work in broadcast, that's where they want to go. Ultimately, you want to end up in front of the camera. But kind of when that happened to me, I became even more self-conscious about myself, about how I looked. And the more I thought about my weight and my struggles, just the more I gained. but it was really through my passion for cooking. I had several opportunities come up, working at a food network, doing kind of some fun food competitions that really led me to teaching while I was working in news. I started teaching friends and family how to cook healthy meals. And I didn't realize really how big of an impact it made in people's lives, and how so many of my friends really didn't know much about healthy eating, right? They didn't know nutrition was so important. So I kind of just, from there, I decided I'm just going to focus on teaching, focus on teaching people really how to eat healthy. So this point in my life, I guess you can say, is career 2.0, but like kind of accidentally, it led me to where I am today because I love working as a broadcast journalist. I love working as a journalist, but I love this even more because I grew up, food has always been a huge centerpiece in my life and in my family's life. So being able to teach people how to cook is really, it's really powerful.
Were you doing that while you were when you were transitioning and teaching people how to cook? Was that also simultaneously while you were starting to take a GLP-1, or was just even like farther?
That was even farther. That was even before people knew about GLP-1s. And still, it was more of just regular friends that were trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle or were kind of always on the go. I came from a community where a lot of people work in news. There wasn't that much time. And I would always pack my food at work, and everybody was always curious about what I was eating. And then once I started getting on GLP-1, I think a lot of people ended up opening up to me that they're also on this medication because I was always very transparent about my journey. I know it wasn't something I kind of kept to myself. I started this medication, right when this medication came on the market, right? There was not even that much buzz around it. A lot of people didn't know about it. I started this medication and I started talking about it. And that's when a lot of my friends and even family and just random people through social media kind of opened up to me that, I'm also on this journey. Oh, wow, that's amazing. You're a chef. What can I eat on this? There's nothing, there's no resource, what do you eat while on this diet? Because you want to have nutrition, right? And that's kind of where it led me where I am right now.
It's awesome. It's a beautiful. So, did you hear that? Sounded like a pig ringing.
Who was that? It's the microphone.
Is it me?
It sounds like this one. Is that
me?
I don't know. It was like
it was so wild. It sounded like if you have a microphone and you're like rubbing it.
I don't know what microphone.
We're all sitting here. It's totally bizarre. It sounds like when the wind was coming.
I'm gonna hit mute.
You have your menopause fan on, Kat? Quick pause here. I've had moments on my GLP-1 journey where insurance changes or rising costs force me to look for a new provider. And honestly, that process can feel very overwhelming. But that's why the Plus Sides podcast is partnered with GLP Winner to give our subscribers a resource to help them make that decision easier. GLP Winner is a comparison platform that lets you explore telehealth providers in all 50 states, whether you're looking for brand name medications or compounded options. You can see pricing up front, read reviews, and get a clear picture of which provider might align best with your needs. Check it out today at glpwinner.com/plus-sides. That's glpwinner.com/plus-sides. Don't forget the Z. Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m., and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again, and the hot flashes are gone, which is, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you had this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need.
20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise. That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Ro helps find the medication that's right for you, based on cost, availability, and your weight loss goals. Losing weight with GLP-1s is possible through Ro.
I don't. No.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll drink it out.
I think we'll leave that in. That was fun.
Well, that is fantastic. I think I will tell you as someone who's been doing live on TikTok and everywhere, right, since for a long time on this, it's the first question we get. You know, like, what do I eat? And I do think a lot of that is because of diet culture, and because we think that when we're going on any kind of medication or any kind of whatever, it needs to be a diet, and there needs to be restriction, and so we think that's what we have to pair with it. And I think that I do think for some people that might be true. I think there are some people that do need to have a certain amount of restriction or a certain amount or certain diet. I do find I have some friends in the community that have diabetes, that type 2 diabetes, and their body just responds to different foods differently.
Right.
And then while there are others who have never changed what they eat at all. I mean, at all. And they've lost 100 or 200 pounds. I mean, it's like, I tease a lot. I'm like, it's almost like everybody's body is different. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, but it's true. Like, I think that we forget that. And that's what doctors have been giving us as a prescription when you have overweight obesity is you need to lose weight, right? That's you need to eat more or eat less, and you need to move more. And this is how you do it by these ways, right? And putting you on a diet or whatever it would be. Or even when we would go on phentermine or metabolite or whatever it was always, all right, like, how do I restrict? I don't know about you, but like, I was never really thinking, and I've been on every diet there is, how do I optimize for nutrition?
Right.
Right. And I think the reason that is because I wouldn't allow myself to even go there, like mentally, right? I was just like, I need to eat less. That is the prescription from the doctor, is to eat less and to move more. So I need 1,000 calories a day. It doesn't really matter what those calories are. It doesn't matter if they're rice cakes. It doesn't matter. And I knew, and that, like, throughout my life, I was just sort of like learning and unlearning these different, right? You know what I mean? Was that like that for you? Because I mean, you love food. What was that like for you?
You know, it's such a good point, because even myself, that I know so much about food and nutrition, growing up, being overweight, I remember going to a nutritionist, and the first thing was just, you need to eat less.
Yeah.
You need to have this many calories. And when you're overweight, you don't concentrate on the nutrition. All you're thinking in your head is eat less, eat less, eat less. Nutrition almost comes, it's almost a novelty. It's not within your circle, right? It's like for the skinny people that got it right, now they could concentrate on nutrition. As somebody that's overweight, you just have to eat less. And that's the most important thing. I remember being a child and being told, you know, you need to eat less fat-free items, nothing about nutrition. And I remember I used to go and eat, you know, those Entenmann's loaf cakes, and they were fat-free.
Yeah.
And all I knew, okay, it just needs to be fat-free. And I would eat 4 of them, and the whole thing had like 200 calories for like a big loaf. And I was like, why am I not losing weight?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I misunderstood this whole thing about nutrition. It's because when you're overweight, it's almost like nobody takes that time to explain to you, you know, it's not even so much about the portion. It's about what you're eating. It needs to be really, really nutritious food, because nutritious food, nutritious dense food is what keeps you longer, right? If I eat something ultra processed, in 30 minutes, I'll be hungry again. But if I eat something that's protein, fiber, rich, I won't be hungry for a couple of hours. But and first, I just want to clarify to your listeners. So I'm not a nutritionist. Obviously, I'm a chef. But I'm a chef that has struggled with her weight my whole entire life. While being on GLP-1s, I lost close to 50 pounds. And one of the things that everyone always tells me is that, you've lost so much weight, you're so petite, but you don't have any of the sagging skin. I mean, I'm one of those examples that I went from a size 12, I'm a size 0 now.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
There's ones that there's people that, everybody has different journeys.
Right.
I literally just went to a size 0 with one experience. And when you look at my body, what you don't see is, there's not much of a sagging skin. I try to maintain a very youthful look. And that's really, I could all contribute all of this to my diet, because I realized that when you're not thinking of food all the time, we talk about that noise that you always talk about. And when that noise is gone, you just kind of want to eat something little to stay alive. But that's not enough on this diet, because there's other side effects, right? You lose your hair, you kind of, your face gets hollowed out. You lose that radiance, the youthfulness. And that's when really nutrition plays such a vital role. And, I'm Middle Eastern, and food is the centerpiece for every occasion. No matter what, everything is based on food. Now, because of my own struggles with weight loss, I've really become laser focused on helping people with GLP-1 on things that they can eat that's going to really help them through this journey. Because there is, like I said before, there's not a miracle pill or miracle shot.
No, not at all.
Other things that you need to do with it to maintain that lifestyle, really. And, with GLP-1, I no longer like to call it a diet, because I think it's really a lifestyle. I've been on diets all my life. And I think they never worked because they had that name diet. And whereas now with GLP-1, I call it a lifestyle. Even though I am, a lot of people would judge this, but even though I'm a size 0, I still take my GLP-1 once a week. I've never gotten.
That's very helps you at all. That's exactly what the doctors say.
It sounds like it's pretty much like maintenance now. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You're just maintaining.
For a year and a half, I've been on it religiously. I haven't done of it. And luckily, I haven't experienced any side effects.
That's amazing.
0 side effects.
Yeah.
I started with a cat like yourself with Mounjaro. And that's because I was able to get it on an early stage when I was overweight. My doctor prescribed it to me because I was categorized as obese. And somehow, some way, my insurance covered it. Just, it was a miracle. But I had my doctor retire, and now I'm no longer obese or overweight.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to get even Mounjaro prescribed to me. And that's when I went to Compound.
Yeah.
Even with Compound, I haven't experienced any side effects, which is really, really a blessing for me.
Yeah.
But, so now, again, to go back to your question, so now I'm just really taking my own experience as someone who is on GLP-1, as someone who lost all this weight, and also as a chef, and also as an instructor, is really take one's kind of lifestyle and try to teach them things that they can eat to maintain really healthy while on GLP-1, because it's so important. It's just as important as the next step is the diet.
What I'll tell you is that we have learned from doctors on the podcast, and if this is any a help to you, it is to us. We've learned from doctors on the podcast that, at least with the science that we have right now, once your body hits a certain level with obesity for a certain amount of time, and this is also the same for those who have type 2 diabetes, it is considered a chronic disease, which is why people go on maintenance for it to continue to have your body work like it should, right? Like someone who is normal or abnormal, I call it metabolically sound, right? Because we all have friends that can eat like trash pandas and never gain a pound, right? So what the doctors have been telling us, which I have found very healing, is that ultimately you're only going to control yourself
to a certain extent, and your body's going to land where it's going to land. And everybody's landing place is different and for different reasons. But they also told us, and this is something that I really feel like that it's not out there enough. And I keep trying, I'm going to keep saying it. But if this was just about eating less, right, and moving more, why would we take the most expensive medication that's in the most scarcity, right, with the most bias around it? We wouldn't, right? Because this medicine actually does work on a biological dysfunction in the body so that it regulates when people have this. And so the doctors say that most people that have obesity to a certain level at a certain time have insulin resistance. And that doesn't mean that their A1C, right, is going to be show, like, as a matter of fact, the A1C doesn't really show until you're in trouble, right? So, but all that stuff in the beginning, and that's oftentimes because you've been in that. And this medicine, look, why? Why does a type 2 diabetic medication, we have 3 now, work on people that have obesity? And it's because primarily of insulin resistance. But I think that we've also sort of learned about how our bodies actually process and store energy differently than everybody else's. So I think that I would have looked like 2.5 years ago before I met the doctors, I would have looked at someone like you and I would have judged you.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been like, what are you doing taking my medicine?
Right.
Right. I would have, but then I learned that that's nonsense. And, I don't know what you looked like before, nor should it matter, because it's actually all just about health. It really is. And I think that in the beginning, when you start on these medicines, I see so many people in our community are like, I don't know what to eat, or they go, I can't eat. And I'm like, you got to eat. And that's one of the biggest lessons I learned is that you actually have to eat to lose weight. Not to mention all of those other things you mentioned, right? Like our skin and our face and the youthfulness and all, that's all true, because we lose weight and we were in larger bodies and we're shrinking down, our skin is stretched out, but you want to, look vibrant and young and all of those things too. And you can have all those things, but a lot of it does depend on what you eat. And so I feel like it's less about what you eat, in my opinion, what I've seen, what you eat to lose the weight. It's more about what you eat to stay in a good place of health, because you don't want to be malnourished and you do want to eat, I would say, the right things. Now, I've been really careful on this journey, and I'm curious what you think about this as someone that's been on it and struggled as well. Like for me, I remember when I was first on this medicine, I was doing really, really well. I was like eating super clean and all this different stuff. And then I went out to dinner with my family and we went to Red Lobster. And I got those Cheddar Bay biscuits got me. And when I came home, I just was punishing myself. Like, look at you. You can't even control yourself. You can't eat this, And I reached out to this girl in our community and I was like, I made bad choices. I ate bad food. And she said something that changed my life. She said, I don't try to think of good food or bad food, because that gives food moral worth. And it doesn't. It is all just food, right? Ultimately. Now we have more of the premium food, which is the best for our body, right? And then we have, the intimate cake that you're talking about, which is not so much, doesn't do anything for us. Might make us feel a little bit better, taste a little bit. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having a little bit. But I think the reason that I'm able to have a little bit is because of the medicine. Before the medicine, if I had a little bit, I was going to eat 4 just like you.
Exactly.
Like it literally felt impossible to control that. But now I can, And I will tell you, I find on the medicine, I crave, like, honestly, vegetables and protein more than anything else. Like, I will have other stuff. I do. I'll eat a meatball sandwich all day, but not all day, a little bit. But I will, like, I do everything in moderation. But honestly, I would rather have like steak and Brussels sprouts than anything else, which I find bizarre. Do you have anything like that? Like, how do you feel when you like?
Okay, let's talk about like what are some of the go-to satisfying your like the high protein, nutrient dense, like what?
Oh yeah, what are those options?
You want to know all the nutrient dense foods that
and there's so many, and it's so interesting you said that, Kim, because people on GLP-1, they're getting all sorts of, like, their whole cravings are changing completely. I had a huge super tooth, sweet tooth, and I would eat I would say super sweet tooth. I would eat sweets all day long, and the reason that I'm a chef and I really know about healthy foods is that in addition to having a sweet tooth, I just ate a lot. I ate a lot of healthy foods. Growing up in a Middle Eastern family, it was a lot of our foods based on kind of the Mediterranean diet. But I found out that I wasn't really eating unhealthy. I was eating per day for about 5 people. I was just eating stuff. And what really was the GLP-1 has helped me. I'm kind of exactly on the same lifestyle as I was before, but now kind of all that noise gone, I'm just eating for one person. I'm eating really healthy foods. And, it's really important to know that obviously when you're on these medications, our body takes a long time to digest food, which is why obviously this medication works so well in addition, to our brain hormones. But because you're eating so little, that's even nutrition becomes really, really key. And in order to eat nutritious foods, you have to eat protein. Protein dense foods is the most important thing because protein is what it really works to lose muscle. As I cannot lose muscle mass. Muscle is one of the most important things because muscle mass is what keeps our metabolism running, is what keeps us youthful, what keeps us away from osteoporosis as women, which we get at a certain age, and especially is really to keep our joints healthy. So protein becomes really, really important here. A lot of people would be surprised to know I'm actually vegetarian, but I eat about 150 grams of protein per day. And some of the things that you could be eating on GLP-1s is that really become your best friends, of course, is if you're a vegetarian, doesn't matter what kind of lifestyle you have, you could be getting proteins, different sources. So think of, there's obviously the obvious, which, I could mention, but I feel like everybody knows, lean protein meats and lean animal meats, the seafood, there's sardines, there is nuts. But then I feel like that's just kind of the surface. We hear about that, but what does that all mean, right? Like, what should I be eating? What should I be eating? And I think some things that have really helped myself and others that I talk to is when you're on GLP-1, you kind of that joy of eating goes away. So whereas before you used to make, a lot of plate of food and you would sit for a really long time in front of that plate and keep eating and eating. But now kind of when that desire is gone, if you make yourself a plate of food, you're just not hungry, you're going to walk away. So you're not getting your nutrients. So you want to make your food almost mobile. You want to be able to walk around with it. Yeah. And which is where I am huge. My best friend is protein shakes, but not just any protein shakes. You want to add super foods to that. Chia seeds, hemp seeds. I include that in everything that I eat. I include chia seeds and hemp seeds. They are really high, extremely high in protein. And mostly important thing is different omegas is things that we need for our hair. The last thing we want is to kind of get all this weight off, but lose our hair. A lot of people that I've spoken to that reach out to me and say, I love being on GLP-1s, but I had to stop because my hair fell out. And I was fatigued all day long and I had no energy. Well, and that's when your nutrition comes into play. Things I could be eating. Dates. I put dates in my protein shake. I'm actually having some tea right now with dates here. Things like that where you could add into your protein shake and kind of walk around with it. You drink a little bit, the hunger goes away, but you kind of want to keep continuing. Cottage cheese. And what I do is, again, sprinkle hemp seeds on it. A little goes a long, long way. And now nuts are really, really important. But what a lot of people don't realize, you don't want to go for roasted nuts. You want to go for raw. You want to go for raw cashews. You want to go for raw walnuts, raw ones. Those are the ones that are really, really dense in nutrients, whereas the roasted are a lot higher in fat. And through the roasting process, they've gotten rid of a lot of the nutrients. So there is a lot of choices that you can make. And also, again, having that fatigue about not eating enough, having that energy what I'm eating right now is dates. I eat about 6 to 8 dates per day, and dates have been used for thousands of years for stamina, for energy. So eating things like that are so important. And, they're small amounts. What you want to do, because of that hunger is gone, you want to try to get as much nutrient as possible by not eating too much, because now your stomach has shrunk. You're not that hungry. You're not, you don't want to sit through a really long meal. And avocados, but what a lot of people don't realize is, whereas the avocado is the fat, all the nutrient is in the seeds. Realize seeds are cool. All you have to do is take the seeds, put it next to a window ledge, and let it dry for a couple of days. And put it through a blender, food processor. It goes into powder form, no taste. Every nutrient, your antioxidant, is right there in that avocado seed pit. And people discard this, they throw that out, not realizing that, avocado, the green part is fat. All the nutrients are right in the seed.
Cat loves an avocado.
Yeah. I use it instead of mayonnaise, like when I make a sandwich.
Yeah, don't throw out the seed next.
Wow.
She made the coolest sandwich. She made this sandwich we have on our channel where she took it was like eggs and cottage cheese, right, Kat? Eggs, cottage cheese, and then devotion buttery blend protein powder and mixed it up into like a flat.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then she made a BLT with it. And then but instead of mayonnaise, she did avocado.
Oh,
and then bacon and bacon.
It was actually tastier. Yeah, that's probably the tastiest BLT. I don't think I was probably going to pay out for that ever again.
Yeah.
And then there's things you could add to make food more appealing. So you're eating at spices, I think my journey, spices have been my best friend through this process, because you want to be able to have joy of eating. You want to kind of add the flavors back in. So I even adding like a little bit of cumin powder on your avocado in order to get that fat. I mean, these things all make such a big difference. Number one, making food appealing, joyful, to bring that kind of joy back in. I find that with that noise of I'm constantly hungry, sometimes when on this medication, the joy kind of goes away too. But, food should be really joyful. Everything humans is around food, and that shouldn't kind of go away. And what I also do, which I love, I do this before I go to the gym, and I make little protein balls. I do dates, cocoa powder, which, is so high in antioxidants for people that are still having a little bit of a sweet tooth. And then you could add in that raw cashew, the raw almonds, and just really take it on the go. And when you see it, you kind of, you eat it, and things like that make such a big difference.
Yeah.
In your whole health, especially, our biggest one is our skin, our biggest organ. So if we're not feeding it properly, this is where we see, the skin falling. Yeah. What is the point of losing all this weight? Then, we look in the mirror, that whole, our happiness, appearance, that whole youth is gone. So those are all things that you could be doing that would make such a big difference in your diet.
It sounds like with the nuts and this, like keeping the food like travel friendly, right?
Nice.
For people who have like that really high food aversion, this would probably be easier for them.
In the beginning.
Like bite of a sandwich that might be too much.
Right.
Just like some cashews, some.
Yeah. I remember in the beginning, and Kat's she's always been really open. Like, I don't have food aversion. I still eat. Like, I have a wall and I stop, but like, I don't have it. And I would say I have a lot less food aversion on Mounjaro because I've been on all of them. But I did have it. Like, it was really difficult. Like, I go all day and not eat. I'm like, this can't be good. This can't be good. But I think like the idea of having
cashews.
Yeah, I love that idea. Like the cashews, the dates, especially like, I think that's so cool, especially like if you guys are listening and you're early on. I will tell you, most people that does fade for, and I feel like, but in the beginning, like it's really important, and you will lose a lot of weight. But you do want to get to a place where you're not losing, like losing your hair, right? Like you want to be losing in the best way for you. And I think that's such a cool thing. Like I came up with this thing called the 3-bite rule. And I tell people about all the time when they feel like they can't eat. And I'll say, look, just be like with our kids, just commit to 3 bites of protein, just any protein, right? Like because I find like that my brain kind of would re-engage and like, oh yeah, like we do need to eat this. And then I wouldn't really have the aversion so much. So I love the idea of having things on you that maybe aren't a protein shake or a protein bar, but something that's natural. Like I love I'm a big nut person. I love the idea of nuts. I love the idea of nuts. That's such a good tip. Thank you.
And also a big one for me is smoked. Sometimes
What?
salmon.
Smoked salmon.
I myself, as a chef, I'm cooking all day. Sometimes when I come home, I want to have, kind of get my omega, get a protein, but I don't want to cook.
Yeah.
Cooking all day. So what I do is I'm big on sprouted bread. Sprouted bread is really the way to go. It packs in so much more nutrients. So I always do a little slice of sprouted bread, which you always find in the refrigerator or freezer aisle because it's sprouted live. You always want to get it in the freezer section. And then I do a slice of smoked salmon sometimes. And this is, I stopped kind of having that smoked salmon when I transitioned to vegetarian. But before it, I was huge smoked salmon, but that's something a lot of people could be doing and putting cottage cheese on top of that. So now smoked salmon has about 25 grams of protein. The cottage cheese has 20 grams of protein. The sprouted bread has 10 grams of protein. Wow. So now you're looking at this little tiny bread, and now you sprinkle a little bit of hemp seeds on there. Now you have a piece of toast that's packed with 50 grams of protein.
Right. Yeah.
That makes such a big difference.
I like, and I'm thinking I want to put tomatoes in here.
Yes.
It's even better, but like that's neutral. Like that's nutrition. Like that's awesome. Oh, that's great. I'd be really good with it. Yeah. The tomato. Yeah. See, I love that. And I think that people who have been through like diet culture and all the diets in the land, like we forget that like there are foods that are very nutrient rich that are important. And you may look at them on a diet and go, I can't eat bread. Like, think about how many times we've thought that on diets. No bread for us, but like ultimately there are good ways to do this where you do need those nutrients. I think that's an awesome tip. Because what is sprouted bread? Like, can you tell us what actually is it?
So sprouted bread is seeds, really. And you could do this. You could do this with like chickpeas. You could do this with your nuts. Basically, all you do is take your nuts and you place them in water and little sprouts grow from them. These little sprouts are so nutrient dense. Even if you get, if you go to the grocery store, anywhere you go, they have these little packs of like sprouts, right? Even a teaspoon of these sprouts are packed with more nutrition than a whole big piece of steak, salmon, anything you could imagine. Yeah. So dense in nutrients. So that's exactly what they're doing with the same seeds that go into the bread, like barley, oats. They let that sprout and then they make bread.
Oh, cool.
Is it like those Ezekiel ones you get?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications. And I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. And I had hot flashes and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause and I started HRT and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, geez, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through the same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you had this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need. Today's episode is brought to you by Ro, a telehealth platform that's changing the game of GLP-1 access. What sets Ro apart? Ro understands the challenges of navigating insurance hurdles and the skyrocketing prices of GLP-1 medications. That's why they specialize in getting insurance approvals for GLP-1s. And if insurance is a barrier, they go a step further by prescribing brand name zepbound vials for prices close to those of compound GLP-1s. With Ro, you're not just getting a prescription, you're getting a partner, in your journey that's helping you access affordable treatment and guiding you every step of the way. Whether it's insurance approvals or cost-effective alternatives, Ro is here to make sure that you get the medication you need. Visit ro.co/plussides with a Z today to see how they can help you take control of your weight management journey with affordable, accessible care. That's ro.co/plussides with a Z, making healthcare work for you. Check out the link in our show notes for more details.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.